Hello, I'm CLC, and it's time for Midnight Coffee. Too soon, but I wasn't initially going to do a morning tea today. I really wasn't. But honestly, with how much emotion that even I felt yesterday, it felt appropriate to have just a morning tea pretty much devoted to Queen V today. So we're doing it. Good morning, Steph Fagan. Good morning, Bridget McElliott. Good morning, Max Teddy. I'm cackling at whoever corrected his Spanish, either Tay or Stokes. Or Josh. I'm guessing it's Tay, based on her laughing in backstage. Oh, she is. Okay. uh good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here for a morning too. So I haven't taken Spanish in like 6-7 years, so it's even longer than that actually. But hopefully that was close enough to correct. All right, joining me is with her backwards Santa hat. It's Tay.
I apparently don't own a cap, but I wanted to put a hat on for Queen Bee.
Yes.
Got my
Backwards
coffee that's
hats.
actually water because I'm going back to bed after this.
You all sing Tay her praises. It's 7:41 and she's up.
But it's 7:41 for you.
I'm still on Central Time. Eventually I'll get on Pacific Time. But the latest I've been up since being here has been like 9 o'clock.
Wow.
And that's I know.
That's
I'm a
my goal
monster.
to get up by.
Joining us from his walk, he's wearing backwards headphones. It's Mr. Stokes.
Hey, this is my live stream to the BBH20. My walk to the BBH20 house. I'm ready for them to catch me outside. How about that? For this rotted ass round that they just decided to give us the last 24 hours.
Yeah, it was very rotted.
And I'm so sorry to everyone, but you're likely going to get this angle probably the entire time that I'm here.
I love it. I love it. Alrighty, let's hop right on into it. There's not going to be much to discuss, but you know what? I felt that it was appropriate. So, where we left off, Liv is your HOH, Victoria and Nikki initial noms. Sarah wins the power of veto and does not use it with her intention to not jeopardize Megs, with the intention that she thinks the votes are there to save Nikki so she can kind of have all her allies remain in the house. So we kick off the day with this Victoria versus Nikki vote. And we see initially, once Victoria and Nikki are on the block, you see this initial idea that people are very convinced Victoria will stay handily, or handedly. And that comes from one, Victoria pushing the idea that she thinks she's got votes, which she should have votes. She should have 7 votes to stay, on top of people like Caro and Trey also saying like, oh yeah, she'll have the votes. So like, it is what it is. Liv is also targeting Nikki, all these things. But then that happened day 8. But then on day 9, Liv no longer wants to target Nikki. She's trying to now stay kind of neutral in the matter, and more Nikki supporters are starting to come and be more vocal with one another. It's just a question of when will they speak to one another. God, I don't watch a lot of other Big Brother games. Like, I try to stay in the loop with like Padlock and the President's kind of Big Brother themed, but not really. But I don't know if it's just our org where these people wait till the last minute to like finally discuss with one another their actual thoughts and preferences. Like, I don't feel like other orgs have this issue as much as we do, where like it's so clear what's going to happen, and then it happens last minute because no one wants to talk. And everyone's like, wow, not this flip happening. I'm like, nothing flipped.
Mm-hmm. It's my least favorite thing about the early season in any Big Brother game, because I have maybe just such like narrow lens that like the first couple of rounds is all about building trust, and it's all about being honest, and it's all about telling people that you want to work with, your intentions, whether it aligns or it doesn't align. It's important to build trust with people by being open, and I don't understand why people will not just be open about what they want to do. It's so frustrating to watch.
Yeah, because like you see, I forget who's talking about it. I think Michael was talking about it. I think Megan, Christian, Megs were all kind of like, even during the last couple of moments, but definitely after the vote, they were like, is it not concerning to everyone how fast this vote flipped? And everyone's like, no, not really, because nothing flipped. Like it has always been Nikki was going to stay by a large majority. It never was this idea that Victoria ever had a chance to stay. I mean, obviously we thought she should have, based off of how much Victoria put effort into particular people. She should have had 7 votes, but we knew deep down from people's DRs and what they preferred, it was going to be 10-3 at best for Victoria. So it's just frustrating that we're back in this stage of like, oh, maybe there's some, I mean, good on them to maybe be thinking about a power structure and be thinking that there's some ulterior motives around here. Good. Some people need the wake-up call. Like Christian needs the wake-up call. But like there isn't any ulterior motive. You all preferred Nikki for the most part. So another Santa hat is
it's another backwards Santa hat.
Yay!
Here, and I'll say this as someone who recently played. I think some of the reason that players early game are not actually talking about what they want early enough, other than like minutes or several hours before the vote is actually due, is because they don't want to be seen as fighting too hard for somebody, or like they already have the decision. Because like we saw with the Marcus and Daniel vote my season, where as soon as Michael and Preston said that they wanted Daniel to stay, then everything just kind of went that way. But also Michael was like, Michael has to have something with Daniel. Preston has to have something with Daniel, because they were the first ones to say it. They were the first ones to express it. So I think people are not wanting to necessarily say what they want right away. Sorry that I just kind of like scooted in here. But I think people are not necessarily wanting to say what they want so early, because they don't want to be seen as having an opinion, because a quick opinion can sometimes create that partnership that you may or may not want to be public.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter. Like that didn't affect Preston's game. Daniel particularly, went out the next round, but it was like,
I never
for
said
the
it
most
means.
part, it doesn't.
yeah, it's just frustrating.
It's just, and here's the thing that's the issue with it, is because then what happens is what happened to Caro yesterday, where she spends all day spinning her wheels, and then she's like, oh my God, I'm so burnt out and I'm so tired and this is such bullshit. And it's like, well, if you just said what you wanted, you could have avoided all of this emotional and mental stress for yourself. And it's like, I choose me every time when I'm in a situation like this. I'm going to protect my peace. So like, you're going to get my truth fast. And that way it's just, I think people can find you and see you as reliable if you're willing to be open with them. And I think that's an opportunity that a lot of people missed here in round 3.
Yeah, like
you don't have to fight or be on the campaign trail. Preston
literally,
like, I'm keeping Nikki, and it was like, okay.
I mean,
I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting a certain way, but for my game, it's best for me to keep this person. Period. End of story. I'm not campaigning for them. That's how you do it, and you just leave it at that. It's also, over.
Again, it's a duality. Like these nominations might be both like great for you. You might dislike both of them very much, but you have to evict someone and save the other. So like this idea of like, oh well, they prefer something. I wonder why. Some of these people could not care less about Nikki or Victoria in their game. So someone's got to go. So like I don't know why everyone was so especially with these noms. No one has any intention on bringing Nikki or Victoria in unless they needed a number. No one cared to bring them into the fold of their power alliance. So like who the fuck cares who stays at the end of the day? Like just say, hey, I have slightly better conversations than the other person. Like they're a 6 out of 10. She's a 5 out of 10. I'm keeping the 6. Like it just didn't need to be that difficult. And for someone like Caro, who was like, I'm exhausted, our game moves very quick. It does. We're aware of this. But we give them these 3-day rounds. Like day 10 should have been easy. It should have been, hey, we all know where this is going. I'm taking the day off. Hey, Victoria, I'm so sorry. I'm not saving you, and the rest of the house isn't either. I'll catch you on the flip side, and then take the fucking day off. Like, they're not technically day offs, but they're basically day offs. Like, this should not have been as stressful as it was for anyone yet. Everyone's spun their wheels for hours, and they're
They
exhausted.
make it harder for the people on the block too. Like, Victoria came into the day thinking she had the votes to stay.
Mhm.
And these people, okay, you are creating the game around you. So if you are not able to say, this is how I'm voting, I don't really care, blah, 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 I'm not changing my vote, whatever, then you're creating the narrative that you can't do that because you make the rules of the game as you're playing them. So you're doing it to yourself. But then these people chose every reason to scapegoat Victoria of flipping, like why they were flipping the vote. Like, oh, I haven't heard much from her today. She spent all day yesterday talking to all of you. What are you talking about? You all told her she had the votes.
Yeah, they created.
They were like, oh, well, she's barely campaigned to me today. Okay, what about yesterday or the day before that?
Yeah, they created an environment where from 7:30 a.m. Eastern to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, they let this poor girl think that she was staying in this house. And then at the last moment, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13 punches right to the fucking gut. And shame on them for that, because we talked about this every season. There is no reason to lie. We don't have powers. I mean, there's a power this season, but it's a very rare thing for us to have a game-altering power that would affect voting, that would affect
After
the nominees,
veto?
at post-veto. Yeah, it's like we've never had anything like that, actually.
Yeah.
That would be like a post-veto power. So shame on them, honestly, for doing this to her, because it's a game. Everybody wants to be here. Everybody's got to play it their own way. But like we've talked about this every season, there is no reason to lie to these people. There is no reason to lead them to believe something. There is no reason to blindside someone, especially in the pre-jury. Like, it's just it was really hard to watch, and especially the three people that should have voted for her. Like I'm looking at the people like Megan, Louise, Rizzo. Like, shame on them specifically for not being more upfront with their ally. Michael, I want to say I don't want to shame him as much just because he was super busy and really wasn't online, but
he knew as soon as he
he
got
also
back.
knew. Yeah, he did.
He was
And he
like,
could have told her. He could have told her too. And then so to leave it till like the last 30 minutes before the voting window, and then to just rapidly beat up on Victoria. Shame on them for not having more heart to
Shame on them for not voting how they should have,
and how they wanted.
Especially Megan. Like, once you knew the votes weren't there, what did you care that Victoria got 2 votes instead of 0? I hate that. That is so cowardly. 2 votes for Madison, and no one has cared.
No one cares. No one gives a flying fuck.
Lie.
No one.
Say that you didn't vote that way, but a unanimous vote in the 3rd round. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and what sucks most of all for me is, like, sure, the timing's garbage, absolutely. But what sucked more than anything is that how it was presented to her. It wasn't presented like, hey, Victoria, the house has flipped because Nikki won them over. They're just they feel like they've had better conversations with her. They think, that she's a better ally to move forward with. That's the reason the house flipped. Instead, it was like, well, Victoria, you went around spilling things like the captain's twist that you probably shouldn't have. Some people have compared notes, and you were talking strategy with certain people and not strategy with other people. You're way too connected. It was just all like the house is flipping because, without saying your shit, it was kind of like because you like the house is flipping because they're against you versus being pro Nikki, which we know
it's fucking horse shit. Sorry.
Like, yeah, it's horse shit, but like it doesn't feel good after she spent 3 days thinking she's good, and then at the last minute you're all coming to her, and it's not y'all saying, "Oh, we're voting Nikki to stay because we like Nikki." It was all these like, here are all these reasons why you suck. And
Yeah, she left all those calls questioning the things that she did in the last 48
yes,
hours, and that was not fair to her because she really didn't do anything wrong. She got
no.
pushed under the fucking bus by people who she really wanted to work with,
Mhm.
and really Jabbar and Trey running a fucking semi truck over her back and forth several times because what? For what?
From day
And
one, Jabbar has gone. Everything Victoria has said has run around and been like, "Well, she told me this. She didn't tell you that." And I'm like, Jabbar, she's telling
yeah,
you
like,
she trusts you.
That should be your indication she trusts you. Period,
yes,
Tay.
like in so many people, almost every person that she confided in ran around saying everything that she was saying because they just didn't value her when she specifically picked 5 to 6 people that she wanted to trust and be like, hey, I'm only going to tell these people these things because I want to show them that I'm with them and I'm not going to tell anyone else. And this cast was like, oh, I'm going to share it with anyone everywhere. I'm going to share it with everyone anyway. And it
Add
just so to see. It
add
sucked.
Luis to the list as well because running around letting Victoria take the fall for her spreading this BBH16 group chat shit to the point where like she knows what she's fucking doing because she feels fucking terrible about it, as she should.
Yeah.
And like to the point where it's emotionally drained Luis as well
Yeah.
because of the way that she played it, and she knows she played it kind of bad, kind of scummy,
Yeah.
and is
I mean,
like, I'm now letting her take the fall, and now I have to vote her out as well. Like, damn, I suck.
yeah,
Like,
a lot of
and at
guilt
least,
there.
yeah, at least she feels guilty because it is her fault, kind of.
It
Yeah, she
is.
should. She should. So
And
let's you go.
I want to go back to this comment.
But they would hate.
You would hate being treated this way.
Period.
You know
Just
what?
think about that in this game. This is a game, and these people are humans, and what? Just tell people how you're voting. It's not nice.
So let me get to the schedule events because there's one particular person that I want to read, and she deserves it. And there's a particular reason why I want to read her. So just to get through the official train of events here, we kick off the day with Lamont, with Trey still keeping up his bullshit lie that he's gonna save Victoria when we all know Jabbar knows, and Jabbar's the only one who knows that he's throwing a rogue vote to evict Victoria because Trey still thinks that Victoria's staying, but he's going to keep up this facade that he's keeping Victoria. So he tells Black Coffee, "Oh, I'm keeping Victoria. I'm keeping Victoria." And Lamont's like, "Well, I'm saving Nikki, and so is Preston, Sarah, Louise, and Caro." And Jabbar's like, "Oh, I'm kind of leaning that way too." And very quickly, Lamont was one of the bigger forces to kind of unite people behind this Save Nikki force. He's been very pro Nikki for whatever reason. I guess that sounded more shady than it was meant to be. I don't really understand how close Nikki and Lamont are. I just haven't seen that connection and that bond as much as I've seen other duos kind of blossom. So, but like
I think
Lamont loves Nikki, so he fought hard for her.
And Nikki knows because of the first round when she was on the block that Lamont, stuck up for her and voted to keep her, and has said to people like, this isn't about 17, even though like our relationship is from 17. Like, I really appreciate that he kept me. And like Lamont is growing that relationship. Of everyone in the house, Lamont keeping Nikki and fighting for her makes the most sense.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out like why their bond is so strong. I just still haven't seen
I think they had like a really long, super late call that nobody was on.
that
Because
it
like
must have been
early on,
something.
like day
Yeah.
1 or day 2, I think they had like a call, and I really think they buried the hatchet and like connected. I mean, and Lamont, to give Lamont some credit, whereas we're kind of shaming some other people, Lamont was super nice to Victoria yesterday.
Absolutely.
Like, was like making sure she was okay personally, like when she was obviously upset and getting the news. So I do want to at least point out that not everybody was horrid yesterday. Like Lamont was a very safe person for Victoria to talk to, sent her an incredible goodbye message, And it's like I love Lamont so much for that reason, because he's a villain and he plays villainous, but he's a person at the end of the day too. And I think that's what makes a great villain.
He could sense that she just was not in the right headspace. I mean, when you get on call after call after call after call being told that like you're the reason you're going home, and then Lamont has to call her to like also break the news that he's not saving her. Like instead he took such an empathetic approach and was there for her. But still like kind of delivered the news to her, but like spent time with like making her final moments for her just a little bit more special.
But his reason was not, you didn't do any. It was really, you didn't do anything to me, Victoria. It was just, I have a better relationship with Nikki, and she can respect that.
Yeah.
I think he just happened to be on the call with Victoria where she reached her breaking point.
Yeah.
And I think but I think it was almost like the perfect person, someone who hadn't really been lying to her, who hadn't really been leading her to believe something, and just was being truthful with her in the moment. I think was actually the perfect person for her to kind of like have that moment with. And Lamont handled it with such grace. And so did Victoria. I mean, it's hard. These games are hard. Like your emotions are at a up and down and on a high. And even though she was clearly upset, like she handled the whole process with such grace and with such dignity. She never gave up. She was fighting to the very end. I mean, you gotta love that in a player.
Yeah, she never gave up. She was on calls up until the final moments. Like she was on call with Michael like 3 minutes before we dropped the news. So like she never just like threw in the towel. So good on her. But yeah, so like Lamont kind of clues in Black Coffee that actually the votes might be there to save Nikki. Jabbar then hops on call with Caro and agree that yep, they're down to save Nikki. And that's kind of when everything starts to kind of fall into place. You have kind of Megan and Rizzo, who were two of the people who wanted to save Victoria, but then they kind of hearing through the grapevine that like it's flipping, and Megan and Rizzo basically they want to save face. I mean, that's just they want to save face. That's what they want to do. They don't want to do what Preston did for Madison, which is to stick up for the person that they clearly wanted to save, that they've already told other people that they wanted to save. Like, it's not, again, like, Nikki already knew that Rizzo wanted to save Victoria. She's not dumb. People have already told her, hey, yeah, no, Rizzo told me they want to save Victoria. She also knows that, and that Megan wanted to save Victoria. Nikki and Megan have buried that hatchet and are moving forward past it. But, like, Nikki's not dumb. She heard it. So, like, when you've already told people what you want and then you're only flipping to please the majority. We say this every fucking season. The House knew what you wanted to do. You voting for the other person to be the majority doesn't change the fact that that's not your preference, and they know that. Like, you're just doing it to not ruffle feathers, but like no one fucking cares in this house. They don't. So it was just really frustrating to see even Megan and Rizzo flip when like you've already made your preference clear. Just vote that way.
Mm-hmm. And let's give props to Nikki for how she's handled all this as well. Like, I mean, obviously we're here to talk mostly about Victoria's downfall, but Nikki had a great campaign. She did a great job of assessing who truly wanted her to stay, not who flipped at the last minute, and knows going forward who her people are that were rooting for her and willing to work with her and really willing to root for her, even to the point where she did this a couple of times, which I thought was super smart, was like, are you comfortable if I were to say I have you as a number? Mm-hmm. And that's when somebody says yes to that, that is gold. And it's great because that person is not afraid to be your ally, number one. They're not afraid to fight for you. They're not afraid to be associated with you. And Nikki in particular, she sussed out the people that were like, well, don't really say anything. Like Caro didn't want to be associated with anything. Trey didn't want to be associated. So she did a great job of sussing out the people that really could have cared less about her and people who actually wanted her to stay. And I think going forward, Nikki now has a lot of clarity with like who she can play this game with right now. And they've unleashed chaos queen Nikki, and I'm so excited to see what she does.
Yeah, Nikki knows she's bad at the early game. She's like me. We hate this small talk bullshit. Like, let's just get to the game. Like, we're both the same in that regard, and she knows that. And like, she struggled in 17. She avoided the block barely in 17 the first couple of rounds just because there were just less active people that weren't bonding as much. The Lamont v. Austin fight, Chris Yu tanking his game. Like, she survived early on because other people created messes for themselves that kind of buried the fact that she wasn't as around and wasn't as bonding as much. And then she got to a point where she found herself as super necessary to the game. And she might do the exact same fucking thing here. And they're going to look back and think that they're so stupid for having 2 chances to yeet her. And
Two chances. Literally 2.
2. And all props
and
to
that's the
Nikki.
thing too. If you think that switching your vote means that Nikki's not going to come after you or whatever, like you don't want to be seen as not her ally, in my opinion, I would rather someone come to me and say, I'm sorry, I'm not voting for you, I think you have the votes, but like I want to throw Victoria a vote. So you could say that I want to throw Victoria a vote, but Nikki has already been put on the block by 2 people in the house. And yes, in part of her campaign, she was like, I'm not necessarily going to immediately nominate Christian and Liv just because they nominated me. Like, I'm going to look at the whole game. But even still, like, you know that there are people ahead of you that she would come after. Your vote to save Victoria, I feel like I would always rather someone just vote, tell me how they're voting, give me the reason. Even if I'm on the block, I feel like that's a better way to build trust with someone than it is to flip last minute.
Yeah. But I just will never understand the flip last minute to be in the majority crap. It'll just never be a strategy that appeases to me. It's just like, vote the way you want, especially if you've already told other people. So like, build that trust with the person you want to save, and then talk about if you don't get what you want, talk to their nom and figure it out after that. But like, don't try and just appease, like, don't try to appease the staying nominee, even if you didn't want them to stay. Like, it just looks so fake, and
y'all,
it's just,
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Uh-oh.
How do I turn my camera around? Hold on. There's literally a fucking chicken. Hold on. How do I?
I have no idea how you turn it around.
I don't know either. Like, I was just turn my. No, come back, chicken.
Oh no. Oh my god, there's a chicken.
Why? Do you see it?
Yeah.
Why is there a chicken in my apartment complex?
I love it.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh, no, you're
back
fine.
to the game.
No, that's so fucking funny. But yeah, basically after Lamont kind of clues in Black Coffee, which clues Jabbar in, and they all start talking, you have these kind of 50-50 players who kind of really didn't care. You're like Christian and Megs, who kind of kept going back and forth. Ultimately, they don't have to make a decision because the house has already made the decision for them. So they kind of also just join in as well. But what hurts me the most, in the player that I feel like I'm actually the most upset at, even though like realistically I should be more mad at maybe someone like Trey, is Megan. What hurts me the most about Megan is Victoria messages MTV, which is the Megan Trey Victoria Alliance, and goes, "It's been really quiet for me. I hope that like everything's like still good and everyone's still keeping me like they said they were." And Megan like takes a screenshot, sends it to her prod chat, and just goes, "Ooh, awkward." And obviously, eventually she comes clean. But the reason I'm so mad at her is because she had the exact same fate in 17. She was told she was safe. Nikki was like, "I got you. I'm the swing vote. You're staying because I'm saving you." And then an hour before, Nikki breaks the news, and then the rest of the house folds as well, and she leaves like 7-2. And realistically, it should have been 4-3 or 5-4. You had the exact same fucking fate, Megan, and you're letting Victoria have the exact same thing that you dealt with, and you hated it. You hated it in 17. You saw Nikki and were like, "Ooh, not this bitch again," after she did me so dirty in 17. And you're gonna obviously you're not the swing vote deciding all of this, but like, clue her in, damn it. Like, you were so distraught about how they treated you in 17, and you're gonna let Victoria just sit there in ignorance for hours thinking she's fine, and then you tell her last minute too. Like, it really hurt me. I'm like, Megan, you should know better than this. Like, come on.
The same thing. Like, Megan, you went through this.
Come on.
Trey too. Trey thought he had the votes too, and granted, that wasn't a unanimous vote, but like, you went around 2 hours thinking you had the vote, campaigning. You just let Victoria do the whole thing. Like,
yeah, it really hurt me coming from certain people where I'm like, y'all experience this. Y'all should know better than to let her feel that way.
Yeah, and I think like even to go even further, Megan didn't even call Victoria to tell her.
Nope.
She just sent her a text and said, and luckily Megan is self-aware and she knows that she treated Victoria poorly, someone who actively wanted to work with her and that she actively did hope that she could save yesterday, and she knows that she mishandled the situation. So at least there's some awareness there, which is good. But also, like, you didn't even get on call to talk to this person who has clearly signaled that they want to work with you. I hate it because I think Megan's a better player than that, and I think she didn't lead with her heart yesterday, which I think was a shame and she knows that. So it's not me like being shady to say that about her, but like she knows that she didn't really handle it the best way.
No.
And to give her credit, she was the first person to clue Victoria in.
Was the first one,
even though it was fucking late.
It was too late.
Fucking late people. Yeah, she knew like 5 hours ahead of time. But
yeah.
Hey, I mean, at least someone clued her in to start, and then obviously once Victoria found out, she kind of went around asking, and that's when other people followed suit. But yeah, it just sucked. But I mean, again, as much as these people upset me from a personal standpoint, from the like, come on, people, human decency, like seeing Victoria cry on 3, 4, 5 calls because she's being told that she's going home because of things she did, which isn't true. Like, it just sucked to see like human decency kind of be thrown out the door for an entire day. And of course, as much as we're saying that like these people treated her poorly, none of these people had bad intentions. No one intended to make her cry or make her feel terrible. So like, please don't like think these people are terrible or send them shit DMs after the game's over. They're all still amazing people. And I think they all kind of realized after the eviction that they kind of didn't treat her the best. So they're also amazing people, and I'm hoping that this is a learning experience, even though that it shouldn't be. They're fucking all org veterans. But here we are. So I'm hoping that they've learned from this and that the upcoming evictions will be a lot smoother. Probably not, but one can hope. So they're also amazing people, but it just sucks that it was the consequences of their actions was how Victoria felt.
Some of these people need to put their thinking caps on, because literally, how can you say in the same breath that Victoria, she's not as active? Like, this is the story going around. Victoria's not as active with people. And then, she's too connected. She's too connected. Like, we need to get rid of her because she's actually more connected than Nikki is. And it's like, why aren't you all just being honest and saying that you want to work with Nikki, you don't want to work with Victoria? And like, people were jumping through hoops to find reasons to not vote for Victoria and making things up.
People were like, Liv isn't targeting Nikki anymore, so we can save her now. Like, girl, like Liv fucking has any fucking influence over any of you hoes. Like, shut up. Like, y'all are just scapegoating anyone under the sun that you can to just defend your vote. Just say you don't want to work with Victoria.
It was all about making them feel better. Fuck Victoria's feelings. It was about making themselves feel better about the situation. So,
like, oh my lord, the amount of hoops these people were like, well, if this person said this, then maybe I could say this, and then I can vote for Nikki. Like, it just was so dumb. Like, just say that you want to work with Nikki and you don't want to work with Victoria. It's so simple. It's less words, it's less syllables. It hurts way less than trying to like beat around the bush when you're calling someone to be like, so here's all the reasons why I'm not saving you. It comes across as fake, and then you have a situation where Victoria feels like she did everything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want that.
Luis sits on call with Victoria and is like, I wish I could do more. I'm like, well, you know what you could do? You could vote to save Victoria.
Literally.
The vote hasn't happened. It's not over.
Literally so many calls. They were like, what can I do for you, Victoria? And I'm like, vote to save her. Clearly, duh. Like, like you're acting like it's over. It was just, there were just many times yesterday where I was just like, hello? Jeez Louise. Yeah, the thinking caps were not on yesterday, but that's okay. But we mourn Victoria 13-0. Everyone votes to evict her, even though it honestly probably should have been 10-3, 9-4. somewhere in that realm of even just including the people that like knew they should have saved her. That's not even including the people like Erica and Megs and Jabbar, people that like should have saved her because they have a way better working relationship with Victoria based on solely this game, based on solely what has happened in this game and this server. Louise should have saved her, but like, it is what it is. Pre-connections are a thing. Like, Louise has known Nikki for almost 4 years now, so like that's a hard thing to like tell Louise, like, how do you vote between that? So there's a lot of other factors that come into the game, but basing solely on what we had seen in this game and how much Victoria prioritized certain people, this vote should not have gone the way it did. But we'll see if they look back on this moment and go, damn, when Nikki starts slitting throats, they're gonna look back being like, damn, we should have kept Victoria. And I wait for that day, and that's honestly the revenge that we all deserve. Some other storylines to be watching as we move into our co-HOH round. This Megs v. Caro thing is so fucking great to me. They obviously had a really shitty call on day 9 where Megs wasn't telling Caro the alliances she's in, even though Caro knows about a few of them. And you can just see their games drifting apart. Like, they don't have, I don't think they have I think they have one alliance together. I forget what it's called. They have
Megs took a lot of hits this round without even touching the block. Like, her stock fell hard because she's also being scapegoated in a lot of things, that a lot of the rumors going around the house, and people were going around saying Megs was obviously going to save Victoria. They're super close. And she left the round in a worse position than she began it.
It didn't help also that she's being tethered with Sarah. Like, everyone's now clocking that Sarah and Megs are super close, which I get it. It's a good read. Also, Sarah kind of like had to make that decision to keep their relationship intact. So people now know that Sarah and Megs are close. Just a lot of things. And it doesn't help make the situation that she told Jabbar, someone that she like. I don't understand why Jabbar doesn't trust Megs. I do not get it. Megs has given Jabbar everything under the sun to make him see the fact that she trusts him, and he goes around leaking her shit because he doesn't trust her. And I'm like, I don't know why you don't trust Megs. Megs literally gives you everything. But Megs told Jabbar that she thinks Caro is the nucleus of the game, which is true. And then Jabbar runs and goes and tells Caro. Like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, the new Skype conversation group chat, which is Caro, Trey, and Megs, I see that dying pretty quickly. I just see Caro and Megs just drifting. Like, Caro's trying so hard to keep that relationship together, and it's just like, not this game, love. It's just not there. So just move on. But Sarah's getting to some heat now. Sarah's getting a lot of heat by being tight to Megs, maybe even being tight to Liv, just because of how those moments happened on day 9 with Liv not wanting a renom and he's here.
Mitchell left.
Liv not wanting a renom, and then Sarah doing what she wanted. Sarah and Liv are kind of getting painted kind of close together. Sarah's getting a little bit of heat right now. Like, Jabbar was even trying to sell Nikki today on day 11, being like, girl, Sarah didn't want you to. Sarah wanted you gone. Sarah was willing to not use the veto on you because she thought you were leaving against Victoria.
And you know what Nikki did? Nikki literally goes, okay, and then changes the subject. Like,
she doesn't believe it. But
yeah,
like,
she was not buying it.
People are, I mean, Caro and Trey are afraid of Sarah because they can't brainwash her. She's now won 2 challenges. Like, a lot of people are getting scared of Sarah, which rightfully so. She's a great player, and you should be scared of her. But I think a lot of things have started to fall into place, where people are starting to figure out where Sarah's at. Some people just thought she was kind of like an under the radar old orger who wasn't super around, and people were like, oh, wait a minute, she actually might be in alliance with people. So I think people are starting to get those wheels turning.
She told some people that Megs was a renom option, and she told other people she didn't know who the renom option was, and that's gotten around the house because not one person in this house can keep their mouths shut. So everyone's talking about that.
Yeah, Liv is kind of sinking Sarah a bit too, because Christian confronts Liv on the whole thing, because Christian had heard through the grapevine that he was the renom option, and Liv's like, oh, no, you never were. It was always Megs. Not true. But what I did was I told the people I trusted it was Megs, and anyone who I thought was close to Meg, I told them it was Christian. And Christian doesn't believe any of this for a second, but in that conversation, she was like, "No, I told Sarah it would have been you because I know she's tight with Megs." And Sarah never told Christian it was Christian. She was like, "Oh, I didn't know who the Renom was," but Liv is saying she told her it was Christian. So, and some people are like, "Oh no, she knew it was Megs. That's why she didn't use the veto." It's a hot mess express of people just trying to save their fucking asses.
Yeah, once the second Sarah won the veto, every person in the game basically decided what Sarah should do and what would happen if they did, or if Sarah did what they wanted her to do. And then those narratives got spread as if they were true. And I'm like, whoa, slow down.
Yeah, so she's getting caught in kind of a lot of heat that like part of it's true, part of it's not true, but she's definitely the talk of the town, given all that's kind of happened recently when it's not all her fault. So
I have to back up for a second to the Liv telling Christian that he was just like the fake name that they were saying to the Megs people. My hot take on all of this, and it is not really a hot take, is people also don't like to be the fake name.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're the fake name, you're still getting people ready to vote that person out. Regardless if you meant it or not, people are mentally preparing themselves to lose Christian at that point, and they're like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I will be willing to do that. And I don't know why people think that like it's an honor to be the fake name, or like, ooh, we're in cahoots together, or the no one will suspect us to work together. No one likes to be the fake name. Stop it.
no. But like,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
should have told Christian if you were using was the fake. You should have told him before you even did it, being like, "Hey, I'm never nominating you, but like, I have to convince the Megs people she's safe. So like, if you hear it, it's a lie." But like, she didn't do that. She waited until last night to come clean.
and Liv knows that conversation didn't go well, and it was clear watching that conversation that it was not going well. I mean, Liv left that conversation like, oh, like I was bad. That was bad.
Yeah,
I
and
did
it
really
wasn't just
bad.
Christian's internet that made it bad.
Yeah.
Literally too. So some other fun storylines. We finally get the formation of Bro Trio, which that's a name. Which is Lamont, Rizzo, and Michael. I'm not high on this alliance. I might be higher on it once Lamont sends in his personal rankings, because last time I checked, Michael is dead last amongst people who are. Oh, I lied. He's second to last. He's only above Preston Coleman.
It's not that the trust can't be made, but I would be so much higher on this if Erica was involved somehow, because
Yes.
Erica is the person that can bridge those kind of people together, and is the person that those three people should be working with.
I don't know. If you name it Bro Trio, I think you know what bonds you.
Right now, I just don't see this benefiting Michael at all. It benefits Rizzo a ton. This is a great group for Rizzo.
I mean, it benefits Michael in the sense that if Lamont truly was lower on him and prioritizes Rizzo, like if Lamont says, okay, I prioritize Rizzo, and if Rizzo prioritizes Michael, I'm going to be good to Michael now. I think that can benefit Michael, that it builds a relationship that wasn't there.
Lamont's
But
Michael, he's going to have a lot of ammo because Michael's going to spill to that group chat, and Lamont's going to go, thank you, thank you, thank you. And when it's the right time, bye.
Well, and my concern is the more Lamont wants Rizzo in his plan, he may also say, I want to take Michael out so Rizzo is mine. Because a lot of people are having that mentality in this game. It could work the other way. If this has already been said, sorry, but like the reaction that Rizzo and Michael had to being paired together is something I want to be able to see for the first time every day in my life. It was so good.
And there's talks right now on day 11 of a trio with Rizzo, Michael, and Christian. I'm way higher on that group.
That should exist.
Want to work together. Like Michael actually trusts Rizzo and Christian. Like that's actually a group I would support and be happy with. It's not that I hate Michael. You know, everyone thinks that I hate Michael. I don't. Like I just want him to I want him to make decisions that are strong. Like just joining an alliance to join an alliance just isn't like strong to me. Oh, he's in the alliance. I'm like,
the problem is we always have such a bird's eye view of the game, and so I do truly think, like, this is not going to be anything different than anything I've said the past few days. I truly think Michael and Lamont should work together, but they just don't have that information to see that they should work together. Well, Michael maybe does now, but I don't think that any of these people that are outside of this power structure, which the power structure is the minority, but none of these people outside of it truly see what it is and that they should work together, and I need them to wake up. I think that the right round could make these people wake up to what the power structure is. I just want to see the power structure under some sort of heat.
Yeah. So
I'm not even rooting for them to fail at all. I just want to see them have to do something defensively rather than controlling people.
Yeah. So I mean, this round could be the round we'll have to see. Michael does inform Rizzo that he does have the golden key. I wasn't on that call as to if Michael disclosed how he received it. I assume he did, which means that Rizzo then also knows that Miki also now has a golden key as well. So Rizzo is the only person clued into this twist other than the surviving nominees of Nikki and Michael. So Rizzo's really rising in the ranks for me. I think he's 4th or 5th right now in my power rankings. He started real low, but he's up. He's in my top 5 for sure. Rizzo's playing this great under the radar game, but like he's gaining a lot of power quietly, and I'm really impressed. I think it also helps. Everyone's making a lot of mess around him, which is also helping. I think without that, he could have been in danger just because his schedule is not strong. He definitely only can call people super late, which kind of he loses out on people like Megan and Sarah who need to go to bed earlier than he is available. So I think he definitely misses out on certain connections because of his schedule. But with all the mess happening around him and the late night people like Lamont and Michael, he's able to really solidify those connections, and he's really an under the radar force that I'm like watching from afar right now, seeing what he's able to do.
I like that he's one of the few people in the house that actually might not tell everyone about this key.
Yes.
Like this was an okay person for Michael to tell. Rizzo isn't leaky. He really is someone that like keeps information to himself, which is powerful, and I don't understand why everyone else is not doing that even a little bit. But so I'm excited as for the Michael Rizzo duo.
Yeah, Rizzo is someone that I honestly I keep kind of forgetting is in the game, and that's not shade because it is the late night thing that I'm just not like around. I go to bed and I don't see like the calls he's making, but I'm glad to see Rizzo like not doing the chaotic thing he promised us because he's a good player, and I'd rather just see a good player be a good player. And as once was said, that is so Rizzo. So yeah, I'm excited to see kind of what Rizzo's runway is. I would love to see him be able to connect with some of those people that he has not had the opportunity to, because I think that could be his downfall quickly. You said Sarah, but did you also say Megan? And those are two people that we've speculated could do well in today's HOH competition together. And so like that could not be great, but we'll see.
Yeah, like Megan loved Rizzo. They had an amazing first call. I just haven't been able to really rekindle that since, just because of Rizzo's schedule. And like, it might keep him safe if with a Megan HOH this early. But like, had come 3-4 rounds from now, Megan might not have many options left. So I just think, he needs to start focusing on people that he's not close with. Like because he only can call the people that are up late at night. So he's got great relationships with Liv and Lamont and Michael and Christian, like the people who are up later. Or up early enough where he's still up. Like he's got great connections there, but he loses out on those people who go to bed early and have a 9 to 5. Like he just misses out on them completely.
Yeah. And his off days are Thursday, Friday. So it's like, even if he is in danger now, all of a sudden he's going to be super free in the coming couple of days. Yeah. The thing that's kind of unintentionally helped him, he needs to pick it up. But I think he has made effort with the people he wants. And I think that those people, like, they'll tell him, hey, so-and-so doesn't feel like you've put in enough effort with him. They look out for him in that way of like, you need to talk to him. But because of that, I think that they think, well, Rizzo talks a lot to me, so he really values me. And I think that inadvertently helps him a little bit, that those people feel super good with him, while they're really just the allies of convenience for him.
So a lot of interesting storylines to keep kind of a focus on. Just a recap of the plethora of alliances that we still have. Luckily, some of them have died off with Victoria's eviction. Not that I'm happy that Victoria's gone. I just love when alliances yeet the fuck out, especially alliances that aren't fucking real. God, I love when that shit gets deleted from the server. I just hate them existing, and they're just so fake. So we lost MTV, and we definitely lost Sweet Dreams, which is the Jabbar, Megs, Victoria alliance. But what we're left with is Black Coffee, which is Trey, Lamont, Jabbar, Whoop Whoop, which is Caro, Liv, Preston, Not for Lee, which is Preston, Trey, Megan, Daddy's Home, which is Caro, Trey, Megan, the Triple Threat Femmes, Megs, Erica, Sarah, the Cajun Angels, Michael, Caro, Liv, the Josh Pit, Megan, Erica, Preston, No Scrubs, Trey, Liv, Caro, New Skype Conversation, Megs, Trey, Caro. How many times can I say Caro and Trey? TBD. Bathroom D. Bathroom D is Caro, Trey, Megan, Jabbar. Almost is Preston, Liv, Sarah,
Erica.
Sneaky Links, Jabbar, Caro, and Rizzo. And then Bro Trio is Rizzo, Michael, Lamont. God almighty.
Also, just a fun fact here is Whoop Whoop and Not for Lee were both created in the teams, and neither one have been talked in a week.
Because they're fake. Because they're not fucking real.
They
were made
don't
out
mean
of
anything.
Like that Braun house really just made alliances for no fucking good goddamn reason.
When Preston wins HOH tonight, you know they're gonna light up.
Yeah, they're gonna fucking light that shit up like they're the best of friends. Like, shut up.
Like, we knew you had this. We knew you had this.
You did it, King.
One of the things, because I definitely see like Preston is trying to like take in some of the things that did him wrong. He's not aware of what got him in trouble in the first place necessarily, but he's not trying to overdo some of the things that he did on day 0. But one of the things I noticed very quickly is he's on this call with Trey last night, and he said, I feel pretty good about how we did. And he had no reason to think Trey would do well. Like, Preston has every reason to think that he did well in this HOH. And he's like, if I win, I just want you to know, like, you are not an option for me. Like, I want to keep you safe. And Trey just says, I appreciate that. Thank you. And that, for me, you know me, that is the thing that drives me up the fucking wall.
But I get it. Like, I'm happy. Again, like, you have to balance this of, like, you need to reciprocate, but not overpromise. Like, Trey would absolutely nominate the fuck out of Preston. So, like, I'm happy Trey didn't, like, reciprocate because he would have broken said promise.
But if you're Preston, it doesn't take much to be like, you didn't reciprocate, so maybe I don't need to keep my word.
Well, Trey, Preston just sent us the 4 names he's considering, and Trey is none of them.
What are they?
HOH for if the results stick, which is Preston and Christian as of right now, for sure. Megs and Erica, Lamont and Trey, and Michael and Rizzo are out. So they cannot win. We still have 3 other duos to go. It's Nikki and Caro. Not going to win. Megan and Sarah could win, and then Jabbar and Louise could win. So it's not set in stone. But I think it's a great.
I really hope that he doesn't look as seriously as Megs. Like, these people need to stop thinking that Megs is the controlling person here. And these people, like Preston, like Erica, I think Erica will keep Megs off the block, by the way. But these people need to realize Megs is probably more with them.
And not the lights going out.
It's fine.
He trusts Erica and Megan more than anyone, and I think that will keep Megs off the block for sure.
Yeah, Megs, if anything, is more back against the wall a little bit.
But they are so terrified of her just because she's a strong player in other games. They're like, well, she has to be doing it here too.
So here's my issue. So, like, is why I'm happy and sad with Extreme Happy and Sad by Casey Musgraves. But here's why I'm happy and sad for them. I'm happy they're possibly going to win because they're both on the bottom. Christian, not doing well, not in the power structure at all, is not being seen as super active or super just bonding strategically with people. He's got a few people in his corner, but not enough to save him against most nominees. Preston went from doing too much, being this huge social threat that everyone thought he was, and then the last 5 or 6 days, he's been pretty out of commission with his in-person job, as well as his mom was in town. So now it's gone a complete 180 where people are like, oh, he's not even around to like talk to me. And like, he's not talking to me. So like, he's now gone from too active, doing too much, now doing too little. So he's still in the same amount of danger he was beforehand, just for completely different reasons. So I'm happy that they both will have chance at power. My issue is with their noms. Christian is for sure nominating Liv because of her HOH and her potentially renominating him. Yay, yes, a bottom player nominating another bottom player. Soleil, go off, King. And then Preston is considering Louise, Jabbar, Megs, and Michael. Of that, really only Jabbar is a power player. Louise, Megs, and Michael aren't in the power structures. They're middle to bottom for me as well. It's like, yes, bottom players nominating not strong players. Like, you're just, the cycle repeats. The power players still power.
And it's hard because like you do have to take a step back and be like, okay, Christian wants to live up. You have to understand why. Because she's not been that great to him in this game. And like Preston nominating Michael, like you also have to understand why he would do that.
I get it, but like don't be sitting here in your fucking prod chat, Christian, and be like, I'm gonna make a power move, I'm gonna make a big move, and then say you're gonna nominate Liv, who is not
Liv has already been on the block.
And would have gone home.
Yeah, like
girl, what big move do you think you're making?
Well, what I do think could happen, and the beauty of this golden key twist, is it doesn't even matter necessarily if Michael's sketched out. I think Preston is the person that will tell him before Nom's like, hey, I'm thinking of putting you up. And Michael just has to be like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And then it changes the whole thing.
I would love to see a good heart-to-heart between Preston and Christian. And I just don't know if they are, I don't know how to put this. I don't know if they know enough to be able to come together and make the right decision, but maybe if one or two, and that's the other thing.
Christian would have nominated Preston more than anyone. Right. He was pissed when we told him.
But if they can, like, if someone, I don't know who the right person is to say, hey, look, this is what, but who sees the landscape correctly other than us on prod? I don't really know.
Right.
And here's the thing. Gavin said, do you think there aren't nominating power players because of poor reads or other people's games or their own? I think that these social players like Jabbar, like Caro, that are kind of like running the game, Trey, even Lamont is being a very social player. Like, I don't know if people would call him a social player normally, but like, I feel like has a great social game right now. They feel like they're close to those social players, but so does everyone else. So I feel like the people who are the strongest and running the game, everyone feels close to them because they're telling them all this information. Like you go talk to Jabbar and Jabbar says, oh, well, here's a little thing. And this person told me this. And so that makes you feel close to someone. So that's why no one's going after Jabbar or Caro. They're spilling all of this information. Everyone feels close to them. Why would Preston go after Caro? Preston should go after Jabbar, really.
Yeah, I don't hate a Jabbar nomination for Preston at all.
I just don't know if his top allies and Megan and Erica will support that. That's the issue. I think they easily, if he says those 4 names, I think they way more support Louise and Michael as noms. Way more than they will support me.
Of course they would.
I feel like Erica would push Jabbar over Michael.
I just don't know. I think if Erica's trying to protect Preston, she'll play this like it's too early to do Jabbar. Michael's an easy nom who will, like, that's no blood on your hands, because everyone here is playing scared. They're playing this, like, you gotta keep it quiet, keep it cool, calm, collected, and then when jury hits, then we're gonna go hard. Like, that's how all these players played in their initial season. That's how they're playing now. They're like, nope, gotta keep it calm, gotta make it to jury. The war's going to start very soon if you like it or not. So either you pick a side or you're going to die in the crossfire. So like,
the problem is this is Big Brother, not Survivor. There is sometimes too early for specific moves in specific situations, but when the game has gone a specific way round after round, we need to get to a point where someone does something that is going to push them forward in the game. And just doing the same thing over just keeps everyone in the same position. And then it becomes not too early, but then it becomes too late. And you can no longer make the moves that you need to make because you're not in position to do so anymore.
Well, and the problem with a co-HOH twist is you really can't make a move unless you want to make that move in unison.
Right.
Because as someone who's only nominating one person, your objective is to get your person out. Because then the one person mad at you is gone. And so like if Christian comes to Preston and says, "Hey, I'm going to nominate Caro," well, Preston's just gonna be like, "Well, I'm just gonna nominate someone who's gonna leave against Caro, wash my hands clean of it, and get out of this round." And then it's gonna look like I did a solid for Caro.
Yeah, and that's the hard part with them is they don't trust each other. They were very displeased once they figured it out. So
well, and this comment from Alex, it's funny, but like it's interesting because like if we look at the people that we expect to be in power today, Christian and Preston. Christian 5th placer in BBH 13, Preston runner up, 5th place for Christian, whatever it was. You know, deep in the game, Preston obviously went all the way to the end. So interesting how you put these like really strong players together, and one way or the other, people are going to rise to the top and people are going to fall to the bottom. And this is the opportunity for them to not prove why they're on the bottom, but in the current social landscape, they may just do that.
Yeah, like if they could somehow come together and put up Caro and Jabbar, bitch. Like that is gonna really shape their game and push them forward.
And maybe they will, because I think my own answer is well, so the one thing is though, it's like, yes, you want an easy way out, but also you want to make sure that the people you care about are not up there. And so it does require a little bit of back and forth. Like we've seen a lot of co-HOHs who are like, let's agree to take a few people off the table. So like if Christian is like, please don't nominate Michael, and Preston's like, please don't nominate, Erica or something like, which Christian wouldn't anyway. But if they start to get there and they start to realize, because Christian, while he doesn't necessarily see the power structure, he's not afraid to make a move that is potentially one that makes sense. Like if it makes sense and he sees hey, this isn't adding up, he's not going to be afraid to make that move. But they have to see it together.
It's the problem though, is when Christian tells Preston who he's thinking about, those are two of Preston's top people, Caro and Liv. He's not going to like either of those names, and therefore that's going to push Preston to nominate someone weak to ensure they stay. He's absolutely going to do Liv a solid. As soon as he hears Christian wants to target Liv, he's absolutely going to do Liv a solid and go, oh, okay, so who can Liv stay against? Sure, maybe not Michael, but like he might then even rethink his 4, because I don't think Liv stays against any of the 4 of them. So maybe he
I think Lamont probably re-enters the conversation. I think
that's the problem. When you have these two HOHs who don't like each other, are not seeing eye to eye, and Christian wants to target literally one of Preston's top people. Like it's just a recipe for disaster for two people on the bottom who should come together and find a mutual. It's like the prisoner's dilemma. You have to both go against what you want.
It's so hard because how much information do they have to know that they're on the bottom? And sometimes
Christian knows. Christian was told time and time again. I mean, I don't know if he believes it, but
I think Christian actually believes it now. I think he sees that there was merit to what Victoria was telling him.
And I would also like to, last night after the Liv and Christian conversation, Liv was feeling pretty down about her game, and she kind of talked to Prada a little bit about all that stuff. So she knows that she is in a poor position with Christian. So I will give, and we all know this about Liv, is she is very smart, and I will give her the opportunity to play the game in front of her and maybe say the right things, do the right things, talk the right game to Christian to get those things, to get herself out of trouble. Whether that happens or not is another thing. I'm still going to put the onus back on Christian and Preston, because, as they say, opportunity knocks, and the co-HOH's opportunity to bond with someone that you are not close with. I'm interested if Sarah and Megan can do the same thing today, because Megan is terrified of Sarah for whatever reason. But these pairings that you got incidentally paired with are just big opportunities for you to create relationships and improve your game, not necessarily shake up the entire game, but improve your game.
So even if you have, we have the pairings who I think have the best chance of winning are all opposites. Megan and Sarah aren't seeing eye to eye. Megan is super scared of Sarah. We already talked about Christian and Preston. Jabbar would nominate the fuck out of Louise. and they're the last team to go. So like we have very interesting dynamics where any of the co-HOHs are not necessarily on the same side or seeing eye to eye on who they want to work with. So like I think all three of them, whoever the HOHs are, I don't want to assume it's anyone but Christian and Preston right now because their score at the time didn't seem like that amazing, but in time has been proven to be really strong. So I don't know. I'm intrigued by any of the three pairings winning, but I'm most intrigued by Christian and Preston just because I'm like, you're both on the bottom, and I need them to make a stronger decision for their game, or it's just they're gonna leave pretty soon after here. Like they can't compete next round, and they're both very easy noms for a good chunk of the house. So I'm hoping that they can see it. I just don't know if they will, especially given the timing tonight. Like we'll have results at 7:45ish, and then their noms are due between 10:30 and 11. But 90 minutes of their winning period will be Survivor, so that already will yeet 90 minutes out of their time to kind of talk to people. So I don't know. I'm hoping for them. I'm gonna hope to try and get Jabbar and Louise as soon as I can as well to like give them extra time. So yeah, so I don't know. I'm hoping that they can make the right decision. I'm just fearful that we see noms that aren't good for their long-term game. Like sure, they're like, these people are not with me right now, but at some point you have to realize that the pawns in the game have to unite together against the queens and the kings and the bishops, because right now Christian, Preston, Lamont's about to turn into one soon enough. Liv, Michael to some extent, like y'all are falling out of it. You're not on enough priority lists to be in a safe position for these next couple of rounds, and I'm hoping they can see it and flip the script. That's why I love 17 so much as a season, is because people were willing to step back and be like, we've not worked together all fucking game, but you know what, it makes sense now, and let's
Yeah,
do
I think,
like,
but I think the issue too with the returning season is, and this is not just Christian and Preston. These are all people, for the most part, who did well or like would have done well, and I say that, you know, sincerely. I think that it's hard for people to recognize the kings and queens when they think they are one, and it is the main character syndrome of a returner season. Like everyone is like, I am here for a reason. I have something maybe to show, but I already earned my spot. And it's something that I always really enjoyed about Victoria, may she rest in peace, that she was always willing to recognize. And I hated that she was like, maybe I don't deserve to be here, because that was not the case, Victoria. But she was always willing to like look at the perspectives outside of her own. And she would, you know, divorce herself of that main character syndrome of like the midnight coffee stuff to actually see the game in front of her. Her reads were actually not that bad. And you know, and these people just dismiss that as like, you're crazy. Like, I am in charge of my game. I have full agency. And they won't find out until they're gone that they don't.
And so like, and I don't want, and we're projecting a lot of what we suspect to happen if they win this HOH.
Sure,
and we might very well be right. We probably are. And you know what?
Based on what they've told us, I would
exactly.
assume correct.
And if we are not correct, or we're correct in the moment, and I say that because things can change, and if they do change, you know, tomorrow we will come on Morning Tea and we'll be singing your praises, because, you know, if you make the right decision and say it backfires, that's still better than like just like doing nothing and bottoming your way to the end.
Bottoming your way to the end. Yeah, for real. Because especially people that made it to second place, third place before, fucking swing at people. Who cares?
Yeah, you have nothing to prove.
All the way.
Right. Especially if you are people like Preston and Liv, the chances of you beating your placement are not good.
Yeah. There's only one way
to
do
something. Like, and you take that swing and you get to the end, you're winning.
Yeah.
And I love Christian. But he has watched Morning Tea, and he has been in those comments every season begging people to do the things that we are begging him to do right now. So I would love to see him see the forest for the trees, and make a swing here.
I think Christian was the first person to make a swing, I think, in 17, or not 17, 13 when we played. Like putting Susie up, I think was a big nomination. And so I could see him doing it again. Granted, I feel like he put Susie and Tevin up, and that was like a weird
Not a
mix.
great
But Susie would have gone for
Well,
veto. So
I would feel more encouraged though if this wasn't a co-HOH round. It's so hard when you have to coordinate with someone else. So I have no doubt
such
that
the position
Christian
to do
will
it
put
too,
that-
though. They're in such a position to do it.
They are, and I think that there's a way that they can do it like without Liv being that person.
Exactly.
And I think
That's
if
the big
Christian is
problem I'm
willing
having.
to back off of that, they can be productive.
Yep.
Yeah.
If he comes in with tunnel vision, like I will put Liv up and you are not changing my mind, then
Over.
we are going to say, Christian, you're the reason why this failed.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Preston will do whatever he can to protect Liv, and it's
Mhm.
over at that point. But if he's willing to have a conversation about other potential options, then this can be
Yeah,
productive.
but there are ways that they can meet in the middle and really fuck shit up.
So we'll have to see. So stay tuned. So 7:45, 7:30ish, we'll have results. TBD on how well they do. And it might not even be Preston and Christian. Who knows? It literally could be Megan or Sarah. It could be Jabbar, Louise. We have no clue what any of them are thinking because most people don't want to think about what they would do with HOH until they've competed and they feel good about how well they've done. Like no
quote
point in
unquote
putting it in
feel good.
either.
Well, as someone who has hosted Louise and Jabbar in cups, I feel like they will not win.
Yeah, my gut says it will probably not be, but we'll see. I mean,
we'll see.
I've seen crazier things happen, so but yeah, stay tuned. We'll keep you posted on results. We got Kara and Nikki going in like 30 minutes or so, and then Sarah and Megan at 4 Eastern, and then Jabbar and Louise around 7 Eastern, and then so we'll keep you posted on everything. And then we got noms tonight, veto tomorrow, and eviction on Friday, and then an off day on Saturday. Will they take the off day?
No chance.
Who knows? Well,
They might. They probably will. It'll be slow.
So stick with us. We got plenty of content and tea for y'all in the Discord, but we're going to peace on out, and then we'll be back maybe tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow evening. I don't know. It just depends on kind of how the day is. But for me, for Tay, for Josh, for Lee, and for Stokes, who is here but abandoned us for whatever reason, we're peacing on out.
Glug, 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 glug.